Mercedes-Benz E350, courtesy of Mercedes-Benz of Hagerstown in Hagerstown, Maryland. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So we are in this one today because, believe it or not, the 2025 E350 is actually less expensive than last year, so that is pretty cool. You got excellent luxury finishes on the inside, of course, as well. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so there are essentially two different configurations for the 2025 E350. You got the rear wheel drive variant starting at $62,450, which is $900 less than the 2024 E350. So that's pretty cool. And then you got the 4MATIC all-wheel drive starting at $64,950. But regardless of the configuration that you go with, the power plant on the E350 is going to be the same. Powering the beast is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a mild hybrid system, putting out 255 horsepower, 5,800 RPM, 295 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 2,000 RPM, power center rear wheels or all wheels. And so, by the way, the rear wheel drive is a new configuration for 2025. That's how they got it less expensive. So in case you're curious about that, but power sent to the ground through a 9-speed automatic with paddle shifters, which of course we will be testing out here in a little bit. 0 to 60 time coming in at approximately 6.1 seconds, with MPG numbers coming in at 24 in the city, 33 on the highway. That's pretty impressive, taking premium unleaded fuel. So before we do any kind of fun paddle shifter or acceleration test here in the E350, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. And so there's a button labeled dynamic just in front of the cup holders here, and that'll give you drive modes like eco, comfort, sport, and individual, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, the steering sensitivity, and the all-wheel drive system engagement as well. So now I've got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway. Let's put the paddle shifters and acceleration here to the test. I want to see how quickly the paddle shifters react for us, and of course let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. All right, got it in sport driving mode, found a straightaway. We're in manual shift mode here in 3, 2, 1, go. There it is. Okay, the paddle shifters, as far as they go, they're extremely smooth shifts. Like, that was surprising. So a lot of times back in the day, I know, maybe like 8 or 10 years ago when I was reviewing Mercedes-Benz, it like lunged you forward. Maybe that was just AMG, I don't remember exactly, but very, very smooth shifts with the paddle shifters. Really not much of a delay either on the initial get up and go when it comes to the acceleration, probably because of the mild hybrid system. But yeah, that's plenty of acceleration for this thing. You're not going to have any issues emerging onto the highway. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So up front, you will find 12.7-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 11.8-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 6C0 stopping distance goes, it comes in at 102 feet, which is an insane number on paper. That's absolutely brilliant. As far as braking feel goes, it's on the softer side of things. So didn't expect that. With that number, at least, that's a very nice number, so you're not going to have any issues coming to a stop in this thing. But it's definitely more of a luxury braking feel as opposed to a sports sedan braking feel. I'll put it that way. It's not as firm as I thought it was going to be. So yeah, anyways, then touching on suspension and handling, independent front and rear suspension, of course, gas pressurized shock absorbers, but you also get an adaptive damping suspension. If you guys watch my videos, you know I love an adaptive damping suspension. So what that does is it monitors each shock absorber individually, not only adjusting to the road imperfections, giving you a smoother ride, but it also tightens up the suspension during heavy cornering, giving you better handling as well. So it really does give you the best of both worlds. That's always one I personally look for because I can tell the difference. It's absolutely amazing. It's a night and day difference in terms of ride quality. That's the one I always particularly notice the most. But also, there's an optional suspension package called the Airmatic package that goes for $3,200. That, of course, does give you an air suspension. So when you combine that with the adaptive damping suspension, it really doesn't get any better ride quality than that in existence. But with that package, you also get rear axle steering, which operates at speeds under 37 miles per hour. So that's where the rear wheels turn a little bit when you turn the steering wheel. That's pretty darn cool as well. So overall, as far as ride quality goes, it's been perfectly fine on my short little test drive here today. So definitely absorbing the road imperfections, and that makes sense with an adaptive damping suspension. So wonderful ride quality in the E-Class. As far as steering feel goes, it's just right. It's what you would expect the E-Class to feel like when it comes to the steering. It's not a super heavy steering feel like a sports sedan or like a sports car, but it's not a loosey-goosey steering feel like an SUV either. It's just what this car should be. As far as cabin noise goes, this is the perfect test. We're going 52 miles per hour right now. We're about to hit a bridge in a second here, but it's been perfectly fine in my short little test drive here today. I haven't had any issues with that. Here's the bridge for that noise. And touching on rear visibility, I can see 100% perfectly fine out on my rear view mirror. You're definitely not going to have any issues there. Touching on forward visibility, rain sensing windshield wipers actually do come standard on the E-Class here. So whenever this thing detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it's going to automatically turn on those windshield wipers for you. So gotta love that. There's also available a head-up display with real-time navigation. That's with one of the package options. So that's going to display your speed limit, and safety features up onto your windshield, better helping you keep your eyes on the road there. And last thing I wanted to mention with forward visibility here, there is a digital light package that goes for $990 that gives you more than 1 million pixels per headlamp, ultra wide high beams as well, and you get the cornering function. So when you're going around a bend at night, those headlights will swivel based on your steering angle, better help illuminating what is around that bend, so you're less likely to actually hit a deer or Sasquatch or an alien or whatever the case. So anyways, that about rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2025 Mercedes-Benz E350. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2025 Mercedes-Benz E350, finished in graphite gray metallic, in case you were curious of our exact exterior color name. By the way, that's a $750 color, in case you were interested. But speaking of colors, there's a new color for the 2025 E350 this year that's going to be Patagonia red metallic. That goes for $1,750, in case you were interested in that. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the E-Class is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the letter W, indicating that the E-Class is built and assembled in Germany, as it should be. So let's go ahead and start up front. LED headlights with LED daytime running lights to the sides. You get the automatic feature with that. You get automatic high beams as well. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up the high beams for you. Of course, up front you will find that iconic diamond block front grille. And by the way, there's an option for that front grille. It can be illuminated for an additional $400 if you wanted to go that route. So I did want to mention that. Then you guys can see down to the bottom corners there, you got front air curtains helping direct air around the wheel and tire combination for a little better aerodynamics there as well. But that pretty much rounds out the front end. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of the E350, chrome window surrounds will come standard. However, there are some gloss black window surrounds available as an option, as you guys can see. One of those options is the night package that gives you gloss black accents, I guess, for $200, but there's other ways you can get the gloss black as well. But flush door handles, you gotta love them. I think they look so stinking cool. Door handles just actually retracted into the vehicle again, so I'm a fan of that. Taking a look at the side mirrors, they are body colored power adjustable side mirrors. They will be heated with LED integrated turn signals, and they are power folding actually as well. Then take a look down at the wheel setup. 18-inch triple 5-spoke aluminum alloys do come standard. However, there are several different designs available for this thing, but that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the E350, I personally love this look. This is one of the best looks on this thing, but all the way to the top, typically you find a shark fin antenna. You don't have that with Mercedes-Benz typically because it's a super clean look, so definitely a fan of that. You got the rear spoiler back there, that looks good. LED taillights, of course, and the Mercedes-Benz star logo that started last year with the redesign of everything, so definitely a fan of that as well. You do have LED license plate lighting to go along with that. I don't like to overlook that. And then underneath of it all, it is dual exhaust outlets. However, there are chrome tips. You guys can see that, but that's actually fake. The real dual exhaust outlets are actually tucked away underneath, so not sure why Mercedes did that, but they did. But nonetheless, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. Alright, so but now since we are around to the back of the E-Class, when it comes to opening that rear trunk, it is actually a hands-free power trunk. That comes standard. That's pretty nuts, but there is a button on the key fob as well. There's also a button on the trunk itself, but Once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 19 cubic feet. Yes, the rear seats do fold down if that was not enough space. There's actually buttons in the cargo area to fold those rear seats down, so that's pretty nice. You do have some netted storage in the corner there. There's chrome plated tie down anchors. You got grocery bag hooks actually on both sides in the cargo area there. And then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will actually find a good bit of in-floor storage to hide whatever you want to hide underneath of there. So big fan of that. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, that comes in at 35.8 inches. For reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the rear seats there. Rear center armrest with phone holder and cup holders comes standard. So the way that works is you press it out for the phone holder and then you press it in just a little bit and then let it come back out, and then that's how you get the cup holder. So it's a little bit tricky if you're not familiar with it, but they do exist. They're hidden in there. But rear ventilation coming standard back there. You got dual rear USB charging ports as well for the second row, and a little bit of storage underneath of that rear ventilation there too. But then making our way up to the front seats, MB-Tex upholstery coming standard. Leather seats go for around $800. Power adjustments can be found on the doors, by the way. If you're not familiar with Mercedes-Benz, that's how they do it. They don't put it on the seat, they put it on the doors, in case you're curious. Heated front seats do come standard. You got memory settings for both the driver and the passenger for 3 different drivers and 3 different passengers. You don't always see it on the passenger side, so I like to mention that. Ventilated front seats, of course, are available. There's also a multi-contour seating package that goes for $2,950. That does give you multi-contour front seats, of course, but it also gives you the massage function, so you can have massaging front seats. So that's pretty darn nice as well. Overall, as far as seat comfort goes, it was okay. Love that the seams are vertical. It doesn't give you any awkward pressure points for that reason. So yeah, they definitely get the job done there. But then take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It is going to be wrapped in a Napa leather, and it is heated actually as well. So I should probably turn that on. But anyway, they're making our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key. It's a very heavy duty key. Like, this is a metal key, no doubt. You got lock as the Mercedes-Benz logo at the top. You got unlock just below that, and then the power trunk button, of course. But it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button located just underneath the gauge cluster there. And so once started up, when it comes to that gauge cluster, it is a 12.3 inch digital gauge cluster, and Mercedes-Benz does gauges better than just about everybody out there. I think Mercedes-Benz and BMW are probably my favorite for the gauges. But so when you press the home button on the left hand side of the steering wheel, it gives you a bunch of different loadouts. You got sport, got classic, there's a full navigation setup if you wanted to display that up there. So a bunch of different looks to it. I actually remember them having more in the past, but still, nonetheless, I think understated was the other one if I remember correctly. But they all look good, quite honestly. The sport is kind of like a 3D effect, so I'm a big fan of that. But of course, you have how many miles you have left until you hit empty. There's speed limit recognition up there. There's your outside temperature, which says it's in the 30s today, so it is definitely cold. So I'm glad I got the heated steering wheel and the heated seats here. But yeah, I love the gauges in this thing. But now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. Let me start with the dual pane panoramic sunroof that we got here. So rear passengers actually have their own individual sunroof back there, so you gotta love that. You have this nice luxury fade to off interior lighting up top as well, surrounded by ambient lighting, which, by the way, you do get multicolor ambient lighting in the E-Class, and they do ambient lighting better than everybody else. Now that one I will always say. So it's so bright and there's so many colors, it just looks so dang good. Even the Mercedes-Benz logos found just above the passenger side glove box, etched into this matte wood here, that's all displayed with the ambient lighting color that you set up as well. So absolutely love it. But frameless rear view mirror with home-link controls for up to 3 different garage doors. Got leatherette door trim inserts as well. There is a wireless phone charger just located just in front of the cup holders here. Dual zone climate control coming standard. There is an M-Buck super screen package. I wanted to mention that goes for $1,500. It essentially gives the front passenger here their own infotainment screen as well, and that comes with a selfie and a video camera, and it's a coated screen, by the way, so it won't reflect light and distract the driver, they say. So still have yet to see that, so that would be pretty cool. But anyways, aluminum speaker covers as well. I always like to mention that. That's by Burmester, so we'll test out the sound system here in a little bit. But the interior quality in Mercedes just absolutely unmatched. Like, all the wood trim accents, the ambient lighting is absolutely insane. The aluminum speaker covers, all the Napa leather and leather finishes in this thing, it's just done so well. But anyways, let's go ahead and check out this massive infotainment screen now. It is a 14.4-inch color touchscreen display. Get Bluetooth and audio streaming with that, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You can check out your driving statistics up there. There's factory navigation system as well. You can shop on Amazon. You can watch Finding Nemo on Disney Plus. You can watch Gold Pony YouTube videos. I'm just saying, so quite a bit you can do up there, and I'm not even joking with that stuff. It's just absolutely insane. But you got your driving statistics up there, of course, all your climate control information and your radio information, of course, as well. So when it comes to the sound system, we are looking at a Burmester 17 speaker 4D surround sound system with 730 watts. So I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. Let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. It's incredible. That's an excellent sound system. Plenty of bass, plenty of clarity. This is a brilliant sound system, and you got to appreciate the aluminum speaker covers. But anyways, last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that infotainment screen, at least, is when you do put the E-Class in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard. There's a panoramic view monitor there to the left as well, which is always is going to lead us into safety. And so the 2024-2025 E-Class has not yet been tested by IIHS, so I can tell you that. However, the 2023 E-Class was an IIHS top safety pick plus, so I'll just leave it at that. But front side curtain airbags do come standard. You got a driver's knee airbag up front as well. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard forward collision mitigation. You got parking sensors, active brake assist, autonomous emergency braking, and blind spot assist then as well. Then I did want to mention there is a driver assistance package that goes for $1,950 that gives you adaptive cruise control, active brake assist with turning and cross traffic function, emergency stop assist, lane change assist, lane keep assist, speed limit assist, congestion emergency braking, and evasive steering assist then as well. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the E350, the tech is absolutely amazing. The screen is massive here front and center. The gauges are the best. Love the different loadouts up there as well. Ambient lighting is literally the best that you can possibly get out there right now as well, so he's a huge fan of that. Great interior quality, already went over that. Sound system is incredible as well. The only constructive criticism I can think of, and actually I'll give you two things. You know what? Safety should be standard. That's the first thing. That last safety package, I think like 90% of that comes on a Corolla. That is one thing I would like to see Mercedes-Benz change. And then the other thing, just me personally, because I like naturally aspirated engines, is I would personally probably rather have a naturally aspirated V6 in this thing. You can even put them on a hybrid system. I'm fine with that, but just not the turbocharged 4-cylinder. I don't know, that's just me. You probably have more horsepower, quite honestly, if you went with a naturally aspirated V6. There's plenty of V6s out there with over 300 horsepower. MPGs might suffer a little bit, but you would have better reliability in the end, and that's personally what I would go for. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of the E350 in the comment section below. That's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media at the bottom of the screen if you want to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube.